Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Janice Lo. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Hong Kong is warned by senior mainland official Xia Baolong to stay on guard against anti-China forces. Liaison Office Director Zheng Yanxiong rebukes opponents of the Communist Party and the central government. And Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida escapes injury in a smoke bomb attack. Beijing's top official on Hong Kong affairs has urged the government to remain vigilant, saying anti-China forces have not been weeded out. Xia Baolong also urged the city to continue with its lifestyle. Chloe Feng reports.
Xia Baolong told 1,000 guests at the Convention and Exhibition Center in Wan Chai that he wanted to share his innermost thoughts. It was the first time that the director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office had attended a National Security Education Day event in the city. He said the 2019 anti-government protests were an indelible and painful scar in the city's history.
Can
we afford to let Hong Kong descend into chaos again, with separatists on the rampage? He asked. Can we afford to let district councils be manipulated by anti-China forces again? Absolutely not, he said. Xia urged continued vigilance to prevent the resurgence of street violence and what he described as soft confrontation, warning that there are still anti-China forces. He said social stability and security are the cornerstones of prosperity, and cautioned that a confrontational society has no future. Xia stressed that maintaining national security does not have to clash with expressing one's interests and demands, and there are many channels to do so. Demonstrations, he said, are not the only way. He urged Hong Kongers to seek common ground, improve the city's social and business environment, and maintain their lifestyle. I hope Hong Kong will hold exhibitions every day, promote innovation and technology, boost its economy, keep having horse racing, dance, invest in the stock market, and to make money every day, he said. Echoing Xia, Chief Executive Zhang Li vowed to further improve enforcement to safeguard national security, including completing Article 23 legislation under the Basic Law as soon as possible. The government, he said, will crack down on false information and restrict crowdfunding activities online. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
The director of the Liaison Office has issued a stern warning to those who oppose the Communist Party and the central government. Zheng Yanxiong also emphasized that Hong Kong has to continue safeguarding national security. National Security Education Day kicked off this morning with a flag-raising ceremony at the Police College in Guangzhou Canton. Chief Secretary Eric Chen and Security Chief Chris Chang were among those present. Later, at the Convention Center, Liaison Office Director Zheng Yanxiong warned that a dead end awaits those who oppose the Communist Party in Beijing.
反共反中就是自觉出路.
In his first public speech since becoming director, Zheng said Hong Kong should not let its guard down when protecting national security. At a seminar following Zheng's speech, political veteran Maria Tam said the national security law and common law complement each other and help to maintain law and order in the city. Meeting the press later, the vice chairwoman of the Basic Law Committee said she believed that Hong Kong Affairs Chief Xia Baolong was not ruling out demonstrations when he said there are other ways for people to express their wishes. In recent rallies, participants were told by police to wear numbered tags. Executive Council convener Regina Ip said she didn't see any problem with the requirement. I am also wearing a numbered tag today, she maintained. Ip said restricting the number of people in a rally and asking them to be identifiable will prevent a repeat of the chaos in 2019.
China's top official on Hong Kong has continued his visit by finding out more about the city's development plans. Accompanied by Chief Executive John Lee, Xia Baolong toured the City Gallery in Central. Development Chief Bernadette Lin and Transport Minister Lam Sai-hong joined them for the hour-long visit. Xia was briefed about the Northern Metropolis and the Khao Yi Chau Artificial Islands project. He also went to Heung Yun Wai near the border to inspect areas being developed as part of the Northern Metropolis blueprint. This was followed by a stop in Sha Tau Kok, where he and Chief Secretary Eric Chan paid tribute to war heroes at the Wu Kau Tang Martyrs Memorial Garden. A gala dinner was held at the Heung Yi Kok building, where Xia was welcomed by rural leader Kenneth Lau. The days are numbered for Primary 1 classes at a school on Cheung Chau Island. The number of pupils who applied for admission in the next academic year is below government requirements.
There will be no Primary 1 class in Cheung Chau Church Kam Kong Primary School in September. That's because only 15 pupils applied, one short of the required threshold for a class. The school's annual report shows it had at least 19 Primary 1 students in each of the 4 years from 2017, but there were only 12 in 2021-22. The Education Bureau has said schools that do not enroll enough students for a continuous period may be closed or merged with other schools. Lawmaker Tang Fei pointed out that these are only contingency measures. He said if schools with low enrollments are merged, it would affect the reputation of Hong Kong's education system. Tang, who's the vice chairman of the Federation of Education Workers, says Kam Kong School is not the only one facing a shortage of students. He said some schools continue to exist by reducing the number of classes. Tang urged the government to review the allocation method as students try to get into the most prestigious schools.
An elderly man has been killed after being run over by a bus in Kwun Tong. The 83-year-old man was trapped under the bus on Mutwa Street after he was hit at around 3:30 p.m. Firefighters extricated him and rushed him to the United Christian Hospital. Despite emergency treatment, the man succumbed to his injuries. Overseas, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida escaped unhurt when a smoke bomb was thrown towards him during an election rally. A young man was subdued at the scene and taken away by police, Sachin Khetri reports.
Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was on an election campaign when people started screaming. A man in the crowd was overpowered by others before security personnel pinned him to the ground. An explosion was heard, followed by smoke, triggering more panic among the hundreds of people who had come to hear Kishida in Saikazaki port, about 560 kilometers south of the capital, Tokyo. Security staff dragged the suspect before lifting him and carrying him to safety. The man, identified as 24-year-old Ryuji Kimura, was taken away by the police. He reportedly had a metallic cylindrical object which appeared to be an explosive device. A similar device was found at the scene of the explosion. No injuries were reported and Kishida was whisked away to safety before he continued to campaign for members of his party, standing in the forthcoming by-election. The incident revived memories of the assassination of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in July last year. He too was on an election campaign when he was shot at close range with a homemade handgun in Nara City. This morning's incident occurred as Japan prepared to host a G7 summit in Hiroshima next month. Sachin Katwe, HKIBC.
French President Emmanuel Macron has signed his unpopular pension plan into law following its approval by the Constitutional Council. setting the stage for more chaos on the streets. Police in Paris charged at demonstrators who are furious with the decision to raise the retirement age by 2 years to 64. Officers fired tear gas and used batons to beat protesters and push them back. Many demonstrators were rounded up as rubbish bins were set on fire. The Constitutional Council's ruling is a political victory for Macron, but he faces more social unrest as trade unions have vowed to step up protests and strikes. The Canton Fair has opened in Guangzhou after a 3-year hiatus. It's also known as the China Import and Export Fair and plays a significant role in China's foreign trade. There were many foreign visitors at the 133rd edition, along with Hong Kong exhibitors trying to expand their customer base after COVID. The fair will be held in 3 phases, with each lasting 4 days and covering different sectors. Over 200,000 buyers and sellers from over 200 countries are expected to attend. On to the weather now. Some haze at first tomorrow before becoming fine and hot, with a top temperature of 29 degrees. Sunny with showers next week. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Saturday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Janice Lo. Good night.